They hit us with $36,000 in fines overnight because someone dared to plant tomatoes. My name's Mason Calloway. I'm a forensic auditor for nonprofits, have been for almost 15 years. I dig through cooked books, ghost vendors, padded expenses. People call me when something smells wrong. What I didn't expect. To find rot right under my feet, in the neighborhood I bought into to escape it all. Willow Hills looked like a dream. Quiet cul-de-sac, good schools, even a duck pond. We moved in just after my wife's cancer remission. We needed peace. That was the plan. Then came the beautification memo. It arrived on thick, cream-colored paper, like an invitation to a royal wedding. Effective immediately, it said, all homeowners must remove visible vegetable gardens, unauthorized lawn art, and any outdoor furniture not HOA approved. Someone from the board even highlighted my mailbox flower pot in pink marker. I figured it was a one-off. Power tripping committee. No big deal. Then I got the fine. $300. Violation. Unauthorized edging material. Translation. I used stone bricks, decorative, nothing wild, around my mulch bed. Been there 2 years. I went to the next HOA meeting expecting logic. Instead, I walked into a firing squad. The board, 5 people in monogrammed polos, had printed my violation on a giant easel board, as if I was on trial. When I asked for the bylaw I supposedly violated, they said it had been added last quarter, voted in during a special session. Which session? I asked. They just smiled. That night, I learned I wasn't alone. A neighbor posted on our community app he'd been fined for non-conforming shed color. Another got hit for a hummingbird feeder. A feeder. But when Nora Talbot, an older widow down the street, got fined $300 for her raised planter beds, something snapped. Her husband built those beds before he died. They were her therapy. When she asked to appeal, she got silence. So I started digging. Knowledge nugget number 1. HOAs are required by law in most states to provide a fair and open appeals process for citations. If yours won't, that's grounds to challenge enforcement. The fines weren't random. They were clustered, 120 homes in just 90 days. Always $300. Always for vague violations. I requested the financials. The board told me the treasurer was on vacation. Twice. So I used the skill I know best. I followed the money. First stop. The HOA's monthly assessment balance. I expected to see gradual spending, landscaping, pond maintenance, whatever. What I found instead was a ballooning legal fund, with no case history. $22,000 allocated for future litigation preparedness. Another $14,000 for Covenant Reinforcement Team resources. I requested vendor invoices. Got stonewalled again. That's when I noticed something weird. Every payment, from landscaping to newsletter printing, was going to an LLC called Silver Falcon Services. Silver Falcon didn't have a website, so I ran the registration. The listed manager, Gideon Merrick. That name rang a bell. Gideon wasn't just the new HOA president. He was also a former defense contractor. Retired, supposedly. Claimed to be just here to help the neighborhood thrive. But Gideon had formed Silver Falcon 2 months before taking over the board. And he was using it to invoice his own HOA. We weren't just being fined, we were funding him. And the final kicker? Silver Falcon wasn't registered as a vendor anywhere else. Not in our state. Not in the IRS's non-profit contractor lists. It existed solely to drain us. Knowledge nugget number 2. Any HOA board member profiting from association funds without disclosure may be in violation of state fiduciary law, and in some cases, committing felony fraud. The next day, I contacted 3 state agencies, Real Estate Division, Attorney General's Office, and the IRS Whistleblower Unit. Then I did what Gideon didn't expect. I went public. Printed flyers with screenshots of the LLC trail. Dropped them in mailboxes, coffee shops, even under windshield wipers at church. I titled it, Where Your $300 Went. And it worked. Dozens of neighbors showed up at the next board meeting. Gideon walked in like a CEO at a hostile merger, flanked by 2 private security guys. No badges, just bulk and sunglasses. He said the meeting was postponed due to safety concerns. That's when Nora stood up. She walked right up to the mic and said, "You fined me for my grief garden. You owe me more than money." Her voice cracked. You could have heard a pin drop. The board adjourned the meeting. But the momentum was ours now. Screenshot this clause and tag someone who needs HOA armor. All financial dealings of an HOA must be made available to members upon reasonable request, per the Uniform Common Interest Ownership Act. We filed a petition to recall the board. Needed 75 signatures. Got 104. But Gideon struck back. The next week, code enforcement showed up at 5 of our homes, including mine. Unpermitted structures, they claimed. In my case, a tool shed installed in 2018 by the previous owner with full permit. The clerk looked sheepish. "Sorry," he said. Anonymous tip came in. We had to follow up. I smiled and handed him a copy of the permit. By now, we'd formed a watchdog group, WHISTLE, Willow Hills Integrity and Systemic Transparency Legal Effort. Alicia, a retired civil litigator, helped us draft cease and desist letters. Ben, a stay-at-home dad, printed t-shirts, "My tomatoes are legal." And me, I filed an IRS Form 13909, formal whistleblower complaint, with documentation. 3 weeks later, I got the call. An IRS agent. Soft voice, direct questions. She asked about Silver Falcon's filings. I told her they had none. She asked for my files. I emailed them on the spot. By month's end, Gideon got a letter he didn't see coming, a subpoena for HOA financial records, tax returns, and vendor payments. Knowledge nugget number 3. Whistleblower complaints to the IRS can lead to audits, penalties, and even criminal referrals, especially when tax-exempt organizations funnel money to undisclosed entities. Gideon called an emergency session. This time, we showed up with lawn chairs, coolers, and 3 local reporters. His voice cracked under pressure. He claimed everything was above board, that Silver Falcon was fully vetted. That's when Alicia stood up and handed him the Nevada LLC registration. "Gideon," she said, "why does your wife's maiden name appear as the registered agent?" The crowd gasped. His hands trembled. He tried to adjourn the meeting again. But then a deputy arrived, with a court order to seize the HOA's books. The investigation is still ongoing, but here's what we know. Silver Falcon was billing the HOA for imaginary services. Gideon diverted funds into a personal account linked to a Florida condo. The board rubber-stamped it all without question. Some of them out of fear, others out of loyalty or pure laziness. The fines? Just a smokescreen to refill the pot. Since then, we've rebuilt. A temporary committee was installed. New rules passed, including mandatory third-party audits every year. Nora got a grant to expand her garden into a community plot. And the best part? We got every single $300 fine refunded. With interest. But last week, while clearing out the HOA storage shed, someone found a burner phone. One number was saved in it. Blocked caller ID. Time-stamped texts. One read. "Shut it down, or we bury him with zoning." They think it was about me. Next week, the retired Marine who uncovered a fake police department running HOA patrols.